Hello, today is July 2nd, and I will be recapping how the months of April, May, and June 2021 went for me reading wise. I will try and speak as loudly and as clearly as I can, as concisely as I can. But I will say as a disclaimer, there may be background noises, including a lawnmower, a cat, or if you hear pronounced bird sounds, I have placed a YouTube video for said cat in the living room, but he's in and out of the room. Anyway, let's get started. April. How did April go? April 2021. Sir, get down. Get your ass down. I'm about to spray you with water. Oh my gosh. Bro, you're never this close to me. Seriously? Hold on. Ridiculous. Because why all of a sudden you're going to be up here? First I said, oh, the cat's not bothering me. He wasn't paying attention to the thing. Then he goes. Anyway, April 2021. I read volumes 26, 31 of Attack on Titan. I'm essentially at the end of the series. I'm not going to recap. You might know the anime. You might not know the anime. Brief story. Human-sized, giant-sized, 50-meter-sized humanoid creatures are terrorizing this one town is how it starts off. Turns into this whole big historical, political, weird allegory for fascism and whatnot. So, anyway, 5 stars I gave the 26th volume. 4 stars 27, 5 stars 28, 5 stars 29, 5 stars 30, and 4 stars 31. I have not. I don't think I've given anything less than 4 stars. I do believe there was one that was kind of like a 3.5 stars, but I gave it 4 stars. But generally, it's a 4 or 5 star read, all the volumes. So that was the first. That's what I read in April. This is not in order. I'm just grouping them for presentation purposes together as well as I can. So I read those 5 books. Excuse me, those 6 books. I read Sensing God by Joel Clarkson. The book made it seem like, the book cover made it seem like, the book description made it seem like this is going to be about using one's senses to foster a faith or a religious faith, and that wasn't what I got, really. It was kind of just the author talking about his experiences growing up, and it kind of came off as very, like, pampered, well-to-do off person, has a well-pampered life, and this is how that, because not everyone has access to acreages of fantastic landscape to do all. I don't know. I gave it 3 stars. Stop Saving the Planet by Jenny Price. 5 stars. It's kind of just like why certain ideas of environmentalism don't work and why they're shifting the blame, and a general type of thing of how to do better with the environment, how the world needs to do better. I enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. Seven Secrets, the first volume, by Tom Taylor and Danielle DiNiccolo. I enjoyed it. It was a fun graphic novel read. It was pretty predictable in terms of like, oh, secret society, oh, one kid who's like at the center of it, and he's got a big role now. He's gonna be so important. It was pretty predictable, but I enjoyed it. It was well done, so I gave it 4 stars. Pure America by Elizabeth Catt. This book is a 5 star read. I think everyone should read it. If you know, eugenics in America, eugenics period, is a wild subject. But this is eugenics in America and then eugenics specifically in Virginia. And you go through this really harrowing thing. And I think it was great because it wasn't like, oh, eugenics against It wasn't focused primarily on eugenics against non-white people. It was focused on eugenics against white people, and I think that is important because if you already treat the people who otherwise are at the top of the caste system in America, whatever, the racial caste system in America, one way, you're treating everyone else way worse. So, one, that was interesting to see. Two, it's horrific. And it's like, why don't people know this? Why don't people know that this is a thing that happened in the United States in this detail? But that's a lot of American history. Um, that's a lot of American history. There's a point in the book where she goes through this harrowing history, how these people were discriminated against for being poor or just being randomly desired, labeled undesirables, whatever, or that their poorness was innate to their genetic being. Made no sense, but eugenics makes no sense. Um, and then all of a sudden, at the end, you find out how, and it's not necessarily a spoiler because it says in the description, but how this one place that was so keen in this sordid history of eugenics is now a luxury condo building. Anyway, 5 stars. Everyone should read it. That's one of the best reads I read for that month. And then the last book I read in the month of April, last book I finished in the month of April was This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria. I gave it 3 stars. An ancient android or automaton, whatever, has a Pinocchio complex. The main character is essentially asexual, but has like a pseudo romantic relationship or a quasi romantic relationship. I don't even know with the automaton. Her brother, who has gone missing, is gay. Okay, didn't really do much for the story. Um, Nothing much happened. Nothing much was exciting. This cat, get down. Do not approach my water bottle. Gosh. Anyway, so I was it was a decent enough read. Um, wasn't super crazy about it, but enough to keep me involved in the story, and so I gave it 3 stars. Month of May, I only read 3 books, as opposed to 11 books in April. Read first, The Architecture Lover's Guide to Paris. I got confused reading this because it's a lot of you kind of have to read it all the way through unless you're already familiar with Paris. In fact, I think this book is better for people who are already familiar with Paris as opposed to myself, who's like I don't have a mental mapping of Paris as a city. So on the one hand, it was interesting because you're learning about the architecture, you're seeing these buildings, la da da. On the other hand, a lot of buildings reference other buildings, so unless you're going back and forth, it's a hard read. A lot of things I had to look up. It was interesting because some of the newer buildings, it's like I didn't know that was in Paris. And then when I played GeoGuessr, it's like, oh, I recognize that building. I don't recognize the name though, and I don't know where it is. But I also just learned some random facts about Paris. Like I really took to the whole thing with the bridges. That's probably the main thing I really took to, or the whole thing with the boulevards, or this history of Paris with the pre-Roman peoples, pre-Roman tribes, etc., etc. So it was interesting. I gave it 3 though because I don't necessarily think it was the most accessible book for someone not familiar with Paris, someone who's not been to Paris. So, yes. Next, I read The Unfinished Land by Greg Bear. Again, a book that sounded really great, but I just didn't like, or just didn't really hit for me because main character is like living in his English town. Then he's like a fisherman, or his uncle's a fisherman, whatever. Next thing you know, he's adrift at sea. Next thing you know, he's on this imaginary island with all these people, and it goes nowhere. This random nonsense allegories, magical realism type. I just didn't care for it. I gave it 2 stars. I don't know. It didn't hit for me. The cover is really pretty though. And then again, I read another Attack on Titan volume. That was 32, and I gave that another 4 stars. I've currently requested 33. To my surprise, it was available for request. I thought it would be a bit longer. Probably 34 will be a bit longer for request. Um, but I keep seeing Attack on Titan the final season, and I'm like, other had I not been reading this, I probably would have started it. But because I started reading the manga, now I'm not gonna start watching the anime, and hopefully I'll be spoiler free. Or hopefully, I feel like I've heard that they're maybe going 2 separate directions. So once I finish reading the manga, I'll probably finish the last season. So, and then June, what did I read in June? Nothing. I thought I finished books in June. When I went to check, I finished nothing. I've read a bunch of in June. I finished nothing. I'm so close. I have so many, like, I'm one chapter away here, I'm one chapter away here, 25% there. I'm so close on several books. I've just finished none of them. So, that's what it is. But I did start. I read like the first 10, less than 15% of Ice Planet Barbarians. And why did I care to read Ice Planet Barbarians? Obviously, TikTok has made this book very popular. You know, it's climbing in the charts recently. It's an older book. I heard about it on BookTube a while ago. Didn't care for it. Didn't care for the person who was talking about it. The description from them didn't sound interesting. But now, you know, all the hoopla, every other video I get is someone related to this book. I'm like, let me read it. Let me see what it's about. Let's see what it's about, you know. It's an audiobook, so I'm reading it with my sister. And I was really upset because it's like, okay, I thought, the internet is going crazy over this smutty book that's supposed to be so ridiculous. And I don't really read smutty books a lot, pretty much at all. So I don't know what to expect. I don't know if this is kind of par for the course, or maybe with this fantasy sci-fi genre that's par for the course. But like the first smutty sexual scene is an assault scene. Some background character is getting raped, and the main character's like, someone has to watch, someone has to like bear witness. Which, okay, I guess you can take that stance. I don't really know what it gains you, because it's not like anyone among you is going to deny it happened because you're all kidnapped. I don't like to not finish books, but I'm not finishing this book. It's a waste of my time. It's just gonna annoy me. I'm not really interested, so I'm not reading it. That's what it is. That's my choice. Um, just no. Anyway, thanks for watching. Over 3 months, I read 14 books, which is terrible. I'm way behind. I think I'm mean to read 150 by the end of this year, and I think maybe I'm up to like 49 or something. So I've got to finish all those other books that I'm so close to finishing, and I have to request a bunch later on because I don't have too many requested from NetGalley. But you know, I think I can do it for sure. Yeah. So thanks for watching. I hope you have fun reading. Until next time, goodbye.